This is Dante Williams, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
It is Teddy Atlas, and we're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Keep watching, otherwise,
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Larry Merchant did somewhat of an interview with Steve Kim, and in that interview, he said that he wants to see a Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao fight. Now, he didn't elaborate, but I'm sure we can assume that he believes that would be a fantastic matchup after Crawford just had a terrific win, a terrific knockout win over Yoriokas Gamboa. Now, let me ask you guys a question. If I were to ask you guys, what are the chances of Manny Pacquiao being knocked out a fourth time before he retires? If I asked you guys that question, how would you respond? Now, I'm assuming that regardless if you love Manny Pacquiao, you hate him, or you're somewhere in between, you would all agree there is a good chance that a guy that has already been knocked out 3 times is very vulnerable to being knocked out a fourth time, right? Especially if you think about the fact that 2 out of 3 of the knockouts were against journeymen. In both of those fights, Manny Pacquiao was the clear-cut favorite to beat these guys, and they end up knocking him out. Now, I've been telling you guys on my channel recently that anyone that Manny Pacquiao faces from this point on would most likely be a 50-50 fight for Manny Pacquiao. I don't see any easy fights for Manny Pacquiao at this point. I mean, just look at the list of potential future opponents for Manny Pacquiao. All the way from Danny Garcia, Floyd Mayweather, Chris Algieri, Robert the Ghost Guerrero, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Amir Khan, and now Terrence Crawford. And whoever else I didn't mention, because 140 to 147 are 2 stacked divisions. All of those fights are 50-50 fights for Manny Pacquiao. Don't get me wrong, he has a chance of winning. You know what 50-50 means. It won't be easy. I don't think any of these fights are easy for Manny Pacquiao. But out of all of those fighters that I just mentioned right now, I think 3 out of that list have a very good chance of either knocking out Manny Pacquiao or severely hurting him throughout the fight. And that is Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, and yes, Terrence Crawford. I think all of these fighters have a very good chance of knocking out Manny Pacquiao. But when it comes to Terrence Crawford, this man is one of the most complete fighters in the sport of boxing today. I mean, this man, he can box, he can fight you on the inside, he has knockout power, he has a good chin, excellent defense, great counter-punching ability, and the most important thing, he can adapt to his environment, okay? In other words, this man knows how to adjust. Not to mention he has a great fucking jab. I mean, this dude is the complete package, man. This is definitely a guy who's on his way to being a superstar. And all of those attributes that I just listed right now spells bad news for Manny Pacquiao. Another thing that spells bad news for Manny Pacquiao is Terrence Crawford. He's in the same promotional camp as Manny Pacquiao. That's not good, especially when you have a greedy promoter like Bob Arum who loves in-house money. Okay? You know what in-house money means. That means he loves to pin his 2 fighters up against each other to where he doesn't have to share the money with any outsourcing promoters. Now, even though Bob Arum and Oscar De La Hoya are trying to act like they're BFFs right now, it doesn't matter. Bob is still about his money first. His money is still going to be his #1 friend over Oscar De La Hoya and working with him. So I truly believe that Bob Arum, he would look at Terrence Crawford as a very viable opponent for Manny Pacquiao, simply because of the fact that once again Crawford just came off of a sensational performance. He just had 10 to 12,000 fans screaming in Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, just for Terrence Crawford, right? That's a good look. All of that correlates to a possible success when it comes to pitting these 2 fighters up against each other, Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao. There's no doubt about it, Manny Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford right now would be a bigger attraction than Amir Khan, Chris Algieri, or even a Ruslan Provodnikov. Now, I also believe that Pacquiao versus Danny Garcia or Amir Khan would also be a very lucrative matchup. I think pay-per-view wise, it would be successful, or at least successful for a Manny Pacquiao pay-per-view, right? And that probably means maybe him doing $750,000, because that would be a successful Manny Pacquiao. 750, I mean, if he hit $1 million, that would be unbelievable. But I would expect anything from 750 to $1 million against an opponent like Terrence Crawford. Now, the upside to Bob Arum doing this fight or putting this fight together between Crawford and Pacquiao is the fact that he gets all of the money. But the downside is the fact that he may lose one of his biggest draws, which would most likely be Pacquiao as far as I'm concerned. Even if it were Terrence Crawford, he still loses one of these attractions. Terrence Crawford just may be Bob Arum's biggest rising star, while Manny Pacquiao is his current big star and cash cow. So I'm sure that Bob Arum is racking his brain right now trying to see what makes the most financial sense. Maybe Chris Algieri makes the most sense for Bob Arum because he's not signed with Top Rank and he's with a small promotional company. So therefore, Bob Arum, he'll probably be able to even get options on Chris Algieri for his next couple of fights. And Bob Arum, he may look at Chris Algieri as a guaranteed win for Manny Pacquiao. I don't see it as a guaranteed win. I look at that as a 50-50 fight. So as always, I'll keep following the drama as it unfolds. And that's pretty much all I got. I'm on to the next one.